Hey guys, we're here with Ryan Kwanten and Patrick Hughes, the director and star of the movie Red Hill, which just premiered here at Fantastic Fest. It was an awesome movie. Just tell me a little bit about, I know you said this was kind of a passion project for you, how this came about. I know you self-financed it, which is, you know, pretty ballsy. So just tell me how you came about, how you got Ryan involved.
I think it really did come from a place of frustration. You know, I'd written a bunch of scripts. This is my fourth script, and just always hitting that wall, always the same wall of like, well, you can't, no one's going to believe you to make you put their money behind you to make a first film until you just make your first film, and you can't. It's a catch-22. Every filmmaker goes through it. You can't make a movie until you make a movie. So I just had sort of almost had an epiphany. Like a good friend of mine, Greg McLean, who also executive produced the film, who did Wolf Creek. His mantra when he went off and made that film was, I'm just going to go make a film for $1 million on my own, you know, without distributors, and I'm just going to go and tell a story. And I sort of sat down one night and I wrote down a list of all my favourite directors, and every single one of them had done that. Yeah. And then I realised at that point, I thought, oh my God, I've just sort of been beating on this door for 10 years when, you know, maybe the best way is to just write a script that you know that you can pull off, but also be completely over the top ambitious with it, you know, which is what, you know, Rodriguez and Mad Max and the Coen brothers, and also, you know, when you look at I guess I was just looking at all these filmmakers, and they've all gone through that sort of path of self-financing and raising private money. I know the Coen brothers did it with Blood Simple, and you know, they were just borrowing money left, right and centre to make their film, and so I guess, you know, I just reached this point where I thought, let's just do it. Let's just set a date. Let's go and make this movie. So when I sat down to write the film, I thought, I'm just going to write something contained within this town that I know I can own that whole town, because it's pretty cheap to shoot in a country town as opposed to the city. Right. You can get a lot done for a slab of beer, you know. Like there's all the townspeople came out and supported us. So we raised the finance, we set a date, a shooting date, and then, you know, I got the script in front of Ryan, and Ryan was immediate with his response and said, you know, I want to get involved, and you know, that's where it all sort of started. So it sort of just happened very quickly. I mean, from sitting down to write the movie to having our world premiere at Berlin was 11 months. Wow. Yeah, literally. So we were screening a print at Berlin, and it was 11 months later. So.
It's impressive. So what drew you to the script? Why was its response so immediate?
The fact that he was the hero but the anti-hero at the same time. To have a Western story, but then it had to have the lead of that story be flawed. I thought it was such a fascinating exploration of that genre. And like I sort of just said on stage, it was sort of, it felt like at the end it was the prequel to like the next movie you would see John Wayne come out, or Clint Eastwood. Yeah. But for now, there had to be a reason for them to get to that point of manliness, for lack of a better word. And that sort of captured all those qualities that I like to put into my characters, and I like to be sort of put through hell, really do. And Patrick sort of, even in our first conversation, kept sort of saying, look, this is going to be a hard shoot, it's going to be really hard, and he didn't realise that every time he kept saying that, I was like, oh yes, tell me again. But he was sort of trying to throw cotton wool around me. I said, no, get rid of the cotton wool, throw fake blood, throw me down the edge of a cliff. I don't care, man, it's all good.
I love all the stories of good director-actor relationships, because the director, it's always like, I just got to torture him and it was the best thing ever. So like, that's probably down.
It was great when Patrick sort of finally let that go, like that kind of that babiness, and he just realised, okay, well, Ryan's actually kind of embracing this.
Chain him to a barn, and you know,
that's pretty much what happened.
I think it was about a week into the shoot, and Ryan, you know, I was like, look, I'm sorry, we've got to do this whole scene in like 10 minutes. And there was a point, it's about a week in, and Ryan just said, look, just stop, don't keep apologising, we're here, we're going to make the movie, I'm on board, everyone else is on board, we're all here, let's just go and make it. So we had a really good sort of honest working relationship, and it's incredibly hard for an actor when it's time, money buys you time, and as a filmmaker, time is just, that's gold, that's what's worth the most gold, and when you don't have a lot of time, it means everything's rushed, and it means that you're rushed dealing with your actors, and Ryan's performance has to be, he has to nail it because we don't have multiple takes. I mean, we never did more than 3 takes of anything because we didn't have the time.
Wow.
And most of the time, Ryan's stuff is all one take, like a lot of it, because we just didn't have the stock, the money, the time, the water in the rain machine, you know what I mean? Like, we just literally just running out of all our elements to make a movie.
And you learn, Patrick learned, I learned, to switch off that filter where it sort of says, where you're searching for perfection. You find perfection in the imperfect.
Yeah.
And you learn that to embrace what happens on the day. You know that you can't throw more money at things, so you solve things creatively. You learn to that happy accidents happen more often than you probably are inclined to think, if you can just sort of say, well, let's do another one.
Yeah.
No, there are actually things to be found in that first one.
Totally, and I think a lot of filmmakers get, you get stuck because you think, well, I need all this money to make my first film. I need all this. I mean, look at someone like Christopher Nolan. I mean, he made his first film shooting it on weekends with friends that were actors, and it took him 6 months to shoot it because he was only shooting on weekends himself with a 16mm camera that was black and white. And it's like, you look at the result and you go, wow, there's a storyteller. And, he's told an incredible story, and I really love that film, The Following. But it's like, I think it's once there's sort of that threshold, and once you cross it, you just say, right, let's just go. Let's embrace it. Let's do the best we can and hope that a distributor out there goes, wow, that's amazing. And, fortunately for us, we were lucky enough that happened at Berlin, straight off the first screening. So.
Listening to you guys in the references you're making, you clearly know your film and your genre. So what movies in particular, what directors in particular influenced you in your performance or in the directing of this film?
Well, the films of big influence were certainly High Plains Drifter and High Noon and Shane and Deliverance to a certain degree, because becomes a survival film. Okay. I really liked that notion. It was almost like a game when I was writing the script. It was like, Jimmy's never going to talk. That's the rule. So how does he reveal himself to an audience? And I like the rawness of a film like Deliverance, where you've got these city folk that have suddenly got to survive in the wild, and the similarities between Shane, who's coming from the city, and suddenly he's within this landscape. That was kind of like it was a big influence, and of course, No Country for Old Men, which I felt like was, in some respects, kind of the first take on a modern day western. Yeah. So, I was kind of feeling like this is a genre that hasn't been played, and I thought, well, with your first film, you want to have impact, you want to do something, and also to have a belief behind you that you're going to do something hugely ambitious, like ridiculous. Like, we were setting fire to barns and houses, and people are like reading the script going, I don't know how you're going to pull this off. But, we did. Yeah. So I'm really proud of that. And proud to have people like Ryan to get on board and believe in it as well. Like, Ryan was a real team player, and, it was a real team effort. Like, literally every time you call cut, you turn around and there's actors picking up equipment and helping the crew, and it was. We look back on it with sort of rose-coloured glasses now, but romantic visions. But it was pretty stressful when we were shooting.
Yeah. Was there anything in particular that influenced you as your character? Any role or actor?
No, because sort of, like I said before, there was. All the westerns that I had enjoyed, there was that real archetypal hero, so it was sort of going against a lot of that, and then drawing on, I don't know, things that were outside of the genre, because that's sort of where we were going. We were amalgamating a whole different sort of, but that's where I was going anyway, sort of trying to amalgamate, bring something from outside the genre and see if it actually fit into that world. Mm-hmm. I thought that was more intriguing than sort of digging into a world that was already there. Yeah. Seeing if the water from some other world would go into that.
Nice. Worked really well, guys. The movie went over, I think, astoundingly tonight. Yeah. And so, congratulations on everything. When do you guys have distribution plans? When can people expect to see it?
You can see it in the States on November 5th. It's going to be released in the States, and then it's Australia on
December 6th.
No, they've changed, October 28th, and then the UK earlier next year. and I don't know, we sold it everywhere, so
Yeah.
I'd have to refer to a list to tell you the
So,
date.
coming soon.
But yeah, look, it's going to be out there. So
Awesome.
pretty much every territory's out there. So
Good. Make sure you go
Pretty
check it out, guys. Thank you guys so much for talking with us.
Thank
and
you.
good luck with everything.